Hi, advanced students. How are you doing? Well, the projects that we're going to make, first of all, as I said, we're going to have variations. I'm trying to hold these up. This is one variation. This is argentium silver. We're going to learn very basic fusing. And then we're going to learn another technique where we're going to learn to weave the wire. This is different than the basic class where we just fed the wire through and did simple crisscrosses. This is a weave pattern, and we're going to learn to do that. Now, if you want to put an earring wire here, I have examples photos I've taken. But if you want to take it a little bit further, we're going to do this earring back, and we're going to rivet it onto the piece so that it articulates in such a way. This is not a hard rivet. This is a mobile rivet. We're going to learn how to do earring posts, but you also have the option, if you wanted to put an earring wire on here, you could. So we're going to work on these. This is argentium silver fully. The weave is also argentium silver. Then we're going to step it up a little bit, and I absolutely love these. So you'll notice the weave is now inset into the wires. The first pair, this pair, the weave was woven over the wires, just for a different look, just for a different technique. This is 14 karat gold filled wire. Now you can use argentium silver wire. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to do the gold. I love the gold and silver together. It gives it such an elegant element. And again, you can put this earring on an earring wire, or I'm going to show you how to do the mobile rivet so that the earring top will move, and how to do an earring post. Okay, so there's our projects. For April, I can see this project, this weave, wouldn't that be beautiful on a cuff? Or this could actually be a pendant. You know, if you didn't have the earring topper on there, wouldn't that make a great pendant? So there are lots of things you can do. I'm going to give you lots of options, and you can think of your own. Please, schedule your video call. And if you have any questions at all, email me, and let's get this project started, baby. Hello, now it is time to put our pattern onto our metal. The pattern sheet is in the printables for you to download. And I have on there 4 different sizes because I want you to be able to pick the size that you want. Many of you like small earrings, and that's perfectly fine. So pick whichever template that you would like to have. Now, if you watched the video about how to make a template, I made both a number 3 and a number 4 template. If you do not want to make these ever again, or use this pattern actually, then you can cut out your cardboard or your white paper pattern, take a glue stick, just a regular glue stick, glue it straight onto your metal. Let the glue get really cured and dried, because otherwise when your saw or your scissors go through it, it will pull that paper up if the glue has not dried. So give it time for the glue to dry and then cut your pattern out. But if you will notice in the info for all, I have a video that talks about how to make a template. This is just really thick cardboard. It is not corrugated cardboard. Just really good thick cardboard. You could get a sheet or 2 of this at your craft store such as Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and this is a great practice to get into because this little pattern is a universal pattern. You see it everywhere with lots of different embellishments. So it's a great, easy way to develop this and to be able to make repeated patterns. I'm going to make the number 4 because not only do I like big earrings, I think it would be easier for you guys to see me as I do the project on a larger scale. So pick your pattern. Like I said, if you just want to cut the paper out and glue it straight to the silver, that's fine. If you have made you a template, then that's cool too. So right now, since I have made my template, and you notice that my template doesn't fit my metal. That's a perfect world if I had that. But I'm going to use this scrap piece of metal that I found, and I'm going to position it on my metal. Hold it down. I'm going to take my extra fine Sharpie and I'm just going to trace it. That's one reason I love making a template. Okay. I'm going to blow that a little bit before I place my cardboard back down because I know that it could smear if it's not completely dry. Now, one thing you want to make sure that your pattern or your template is not hanging off the metal. You want to make sure you've got it on there very securely. And there you go. Okay, so you will notice here that I have a little teardrop pattern cut out and put on there. I'm going to cut this out and make a template. This is for the top part of the earring on this particular earring. We are going to put a rivet right there, and then we're going to rivet it to the top of the earring. Then we're going to put an earring post so that these will be post earrings. We are going to loosely rivet that so there'll be a little bit of play and the bottom part of the earring will swing back and forth. But I've put this on here and I'm going to cut that out now in case you missed how to make a template on that video, but you'll get to watch me here. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I want to drill a hole so that I can feed my saw blade through. Now I want to put it close to the line, but I want to make sure I don't put it so close to the line that when I drill, it will go over the line. So I'm going to set my drill bit down, and then I'm going to drill. And then you can see that I drilled it close to the line, but not over the line. So now I'm going to undo the top of my saw blade. I'm going to feed it from the bottom. I'm going to let my pattern rest there. Then I'm going to replace my saw blade. I'm going to give my saw pressure. And then I'm going to be able to saw out my little pattern. I am going to saw on the outside of the line. Let me encourage you to take time to watch that other video, because with it you will see that I did the insides in such a way that I had a drill pattern as well. Now that drill pattern is for the beginner earrings, not for this one. It's for the crisscross earrings. But it is a good way to have a drill pattern for future use. So let me encourage you to watch that video. Remember, when you're sawing and you get to a point, you're going to saw in place and you're going to turn whatever it is you're sawing. You're not going to push forward. In fact, I almost pull back a little bit. Once I have it where I want it, then again, I move forward. A saw will saw much faster through this cardboard, so be aware of that. It'll be easy to make a bobble with it going so fast. But that's okay too, because as we do our metal, we'll be able to file and sand. And there I have that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release my saw blade. Just enough, you don't have to unscrew it very much, just enough to release the blade, slide the template off. Then I am going to place my saw, or my blade back in my saw. I'm going to press to give pressure, tighten it, and then there you go. So now I have that little template, and you were able to see how I did that. Now, if I wanted to have a permanent template, I would take this, I would put it on some inexpensive brass or copper, and I would trace it, and then I would saw it out again, and then you would have a metal template that would last forever. This is going to last a very, very, very long time. So you might just want to wait until this is starting to wear out. Then at that point you could put it onto metal. So now I've got plenty of room here to make 2 of these. So position that just as if you were cutting cookies out on a cookie sheet and you wanted to save as much dough as you can. You're wanting to save silver. So I've got a space right here that I'll be able to put one little teardrop. That worked out nicely. And then down here, I think I'll be able to put the second one. Okay, now it's time to saw these out. So I wanted to show you guys, if you do not have a jewelry saw, these are Joyce Chin scissors. Now this is 20 gauge brass, and it's actually harder than silver. But I wanted to show you that you can use the Joyce Chins to cut out your pattern. It is not as easy for me because I have practiced with my jewelry saw. But I wanted to show you that you could indeed do it. Follow on the outside of the line. You cannot use Joyce Chins for very intricate patterns, but this is a very good pattern to use the Joyce Chins on. And there you have your pattern or your piece. Now, one of the drawbacks of cutting with scissors or shears is your other metal curls up like this. I don't want to waste any silver at all, so with the silver, you'd probably want to flatten this out. I doubt that there's a whole lot I could do with this, except if it was silver, I could make granulation or something like that. Now, I have another pattern here in the brass, and I wanted to show you with this little pair of shears. Another option for cutting. There are several if you look on any jeweler's website, you will see several options of shears. Now, to me, I would rather use the joist chins. These seem a little unwieldy, but they work great. They cut very, very well. They just seem a little thicker and a little bulkier, and I'm having to work a little bit harder to follow my line. But I wanted to show you, if you were going to use something like this, that you could. So I like to give several options. Now, again, we've got the curly piece, but also this piece is a little bit deformed. But that's okay, because it can easily be straightened out, and we're going to shape it again anyway. So those are two other options of cutting out your forms without using a jeweler's saw. But let me encourage you, even though in the beginning it may seem like using a jewelry saw has a huge learning curve, you'll quickly master it. Cutting out shapes like this in brass and copper, just practicing making them with your jeweler's saw, you know, this would be a great thing to do. Just get you a sheet of brass or copper and put you a bunch of designs on there, and just go to town and start cutting these teardrops out, and soon you'll realize just how much you've increased in your ability to use your jewelry saw. Then you can just texture these or polish them, put an earring wire on, and you've got a bunch of Christmas presents for your girlfriends or your daughters or sisters. So that's a great way to practice. This is a great pattern to practice. But I did want to show you that you could use the scissors or the shears to cut them out. Another thing I wanted to let you know, if, let's say you used your pattern and you came along and you did get it off center and it was just a little bit and you didn't realize it, and I'm just going to draw on here just for an example. Let's say you drew and your pattern went off and you're like, oh no, my Sharpie is on there. Just take a cotton ball or a Q-tip or even a paper towel, put some fingernail polish remover on it. I like to use acetone and keep acetone in the studio, pure acetone, but I know everybody has fingernail polish remover. So all you would do is put that on your cotton ball or your Q-tip, paper towel, and then that Sharpie will come right off. So you would do that, you would dry that off good, and then you would just put your pattern back on there and make another one. So don't be afraid of using the Sharpie on the metal. It is easily removable. So that is one of the reasons it's such a great tool. So if you mess up and you put it in the wrong place, just simply wipe it off, erase it, and then reposition your pattern and draw your line. So now I'm going to saw out these pieces. I have already sawed out one of each, one of the large, one of the small. So now I'm going to saw these out. Always lubricate your saw. One swipe down the wax is all you need. Now because I can, I'm going to start here at the point. That will keep me from having to turn at the point. A 45-degree angle to get your notch started. Now I'm resting that up against the bench pin so it will keep my saw from sliding. I'm in kind of a precarious spot there with the point of the metal and the point of the pattern. So all I did was move the whole thing over to where the side of the bench pin rests on the side of the blade. Get my notch started. I'll move back to the center, and I'm sawing on the outside of the line. Now you'll notice that I put both patterns very close together. So when I get there, I want to be careful that I don't cut into one or the other, that I go straight through the two of them. Have that one. Now I have to saw out my little one, 45-degree angle. Okay, that was close to the edge, so I've got a little scrap here. I'm going to put it in my tray so I don't lose it. I always recycle my silver. I'm going to go back to where I need to go, 45-degree angle, get started, continue around the piece. So now what I want to do is I want to file around the edges to make sure that they're nice and smooth. This is done just exactly the same way in the beginner project. Place your piece in a notch. If you only have a desk or something you're using, you can cut a little notch in that desk and you can rest your piece in. Do steady strokes instead of this. That's going to actually cause more harm than it does good. Nice, steady strokes. Now, after a little bit, you will notice that where you have a nice, good file edge, it is nice and shiny. But where there were little bobbles or places your file did not reach, there is dark spots. What you want to do is to continue to file until it's completely shiny and smooth. Make sure your file is completely flat against your edge. If you turn it this way or that, it'll cause a sharp spot or an angled edge. And I've got a nice smooth edge. So now I'm going to work the rest of the way around the piece until I'm completely done. Okay, looks good. Check every edge. Now what I want to do, this is very, very sharp, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the very point off by filing up and over. Don't need to do much, just enough so that it's not going to injure you. Okay, and you'll want to make sure that you have filed it even, so that it doesn't, that the point doesn't tilt over one way or the other. Now, when you do this one, make sure that you do them the same. But you can see how filing changes that. There's several little wobbles there. This one's nice and smooth. So do all 4 pieces. Make sure you've got them all filed well, and then we'll go on to the next step.